Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the controversy surrounding a YouTube channel called CreepShow Art? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. So first I'll look at the background in this controversy. I'll move to a timeline of some of the key events, then I'll offer my analysis. The YouTube channel CreepShow Art is operated by a woman named Shannon. Apparently she has never publicly shared her last name. She was born in 1993. She started uploading videos to YouTube in 2018. The channel offers videos about social media influencers, drama, pop culture, and other stories. I looked at a number of the videos, and it seems like she puts a video of her drawing, like working on a project, along with a narrative about whatever the topic is. The channel has averaged around 3 million views a month over the last 2 years, and at one point had over 500,000 subscribers, but it's down to under 400,000 the last time I checked, which brings me to the controversies. Shannon has been involved in a few controversies, like when she allegedly spread misinformation, made false accusations, and leaked information about various social media figures. But she never really drew a tremendous amount of negative attention until June 2, 2021, when a moderator for an online gossip forum revealed that Shannon was the owner of a particular account that was causing some trouble. Shannon had allegedly broken the rules by promoting her channel on the forum and posting offensive comments targeting other content creators. It is important to note that the online forum has not proven this user was Shannon. Rather, they are making an allegation. Like so many things with these forums, it's really difficult to know what the truth is. Anybody can create accounts and say anything they want. So we see evidence is reduced to essentially screenshots, digitally represented words. It's an unsatisfying degree of evidence. Shannon posted on her YouTube community page suggesting that the online gossip forum account was operated by a person named Amy, which ostensibly is a pseudonym for a woman who has been stalking Shannon for 8 years. Shannon believes that Amy wanted to turn people in her life against her. Allegedly, this mysterious Amy person spoofed Shannon's IP addresses in order to post on the forum. Shannon indicated she completely understands if no one believes her. If people have questions, she is sorry, but she won't be answering them. She posted on Instagram and said that she was handling the situation legally and would not post online again until she could prove, without a shadow of a doubt, what occurred was not her doing. Now, interestingly, Shannon posted a video several years ago about this mysterious stalker. Oddly, in this video, she appeared to have sympathy for the stalker, much more than somebody would typically have if they were talking about a real situation where somebody was harassing them. Now we move to the next phase of the controversy. This involves another content creator who runs a similar channel. The channel is called Emily Artful. Emily is a content creator who started uploading videos in 2016, 2 years before Shannon. Emily draws as she is telling stories. The two channels have the same basic format in terms of the visual, but Emily's videos appear to be more about art and personal stories as opposed to pop culture and drama. Over the last few years, she's averaged about 600,000 views a month and currently has almost 550,000 subscribers. This creator has made her own 2-hour video about harassment she believes was at the hands of Shannon. Emily is not sure, noting there is no way to be sure. Shannon might not be involved at all. She urged anyone viewing the video to take a look at the various screenshots, the evidence that she was presenting, and make their own decision, which I believe is a reasonable way to look at the situation. In her video, Emily talks about how Shannon allegedly has been harassing her for 6 years. So I just want to take a moment and offer my thoughts about the use of the word allegedly in this instance. From what I can gather, Emily has been harassed, and she believes that Shannon is the person who did it, but she can't be sure. Therefore, I think what Emily means is that Shannon is probably responsible as opposed to allegedly responsible. Because with the word allegedly, there would be an accusation. Usually if a person is making an accusation, they don't use the word allegedly in their own narrative. So to give you an example, if you were stopped at a stop sign in a motor vehicle and somebody was coming the other way and they ran their stop sign and collided with your vehicle, when the police came to the scene, you wouldn't say, they allegedly hit my car. You would say, they did hit my car. The police would say that you alleged that person hit your car. The word allegedly is typically used in a third-person situation. Like if somebody is talking about a person who's charged with fraud, they would say that individual allegedly defrauded some people. In that instance, the allegations are made by the police. The police wouldn't say they're making an allegation. They would say the person actually did it. If they weren't sure, they would say they suspect the person did it, but stop short of making an allegation. So I think what Emily is really trying to say is that she suspects Shannon is her stalker. Either way, going back to the story, Emily indicated she had been in a romantic relationship with a man who is now married to Shannon. Emily detailed the suspected behavior of Shannon in this video. Here are just a few of the behaviors that Emily suspected. Shannon threatened her, made fun of her for struggling with her intake of substances. Apparently in the past, Emily struggled with this issue. Shannon hacked into her Facebook account and released compromising images of her and caused her to be fired from her job as a receptionist by making false claims. Emily also accused her ex-boyfriend, the man now with Shannon, of sexual assault. Now this is an allegation, not something Emily suspected. She is saying that this happened. Emily believes that the reason Shannon may have started harassing her was because Emily had been critical about the quality of Shannon's voice. Emily referred to it as weak. Emily sought help from the police, but they would not help her. She also talked to an attorney and a private investigator, and they told her it would not be worth pursuing. She was left to suffer. Now moving to my analysis. Now, of course, almost everything I've been talking about in this video deals with suspicions that people have about other people. There is no way to know what is true and what is not true. This is one of the more frustrating qualities of the internet. Anonymity can be difficult to overcome. When people can hide, impersonate other people, or just plain conceal their identity, it becomes easier for them to behave in an antisocial manner, and the probability of facing consequences is decreased. Here are my thoughts on Emily Artful's video. One impression about Emily's video was that it was heartfelt. It was clear that she was hurt by the behavior of people harassing her. Not only was she harmed, the harm took place over many years. In a way, I think the 2-hour video is a metaphor for the extended duration of her suffering. A long period of suffering, a long video. Emily had a lot of painful feelings that she wanted to get out there. She wanted to get her side of the story in front of people. And I think offer a warning about the dangers of stalking. Another thing that struck me about her video was the level of technical prowess that she needed to have in order to uncover all these different harassment strategies. She had to deal with multiple social media accounts, different sets of credentials, many usernames. She tried to figure out who people were based on their writing styles. It's just very complicated. I think this really speaks to the difficulty of navigating technology in this environment, and how the advantage clearly goes to the aggressor in many instances, unless someone has a lot of money and can hire investigators with technical experience and a lot of time. Something else that occurred to me was just how hard it would be to turn everything off. Some people say that if a person is being harassed online, the person should just close their accounts and things like that, but this is an overly simplistic solution. Emily is a social media influencer, a content creator. She doesn't have the luxury of just shutting down all of her accounts. And even if she could, she has the right to be on social media without being harassed. In terms of the nature of the harassment, there were a few items that stood out to me. The stalker, whoever it was, tried to leverage Emily's failures or shortcomings against her. They were aware of her vulnerabilities, like what would hurt her the most. This is a particularly narcissistic and sadistic tactic. The stalker wasn't so much saying Emily did some bad things, but rather Emily was a bad person. The same narcissistic nonsense we see from the cancel culture. The idea that because a person does something that violates social norms, They are bad. So the action is bad, but the person is bad as well. It doesn't make any sense, but it is what cancel culture does. The behavior and the person become one. There is no humanity retained. There's no intellect being applied either. It is not reasonable. So the lesson here is beyond simply whoever harassed Emily Artful. It applies to the moral panic nonsense brokers in general. So what lessons can be learned in this controversy? I have 3 here. The first lesson, social media offers a world of opportunity, but it is also dangerous. All the narcissistic characteristics that cause so much harm can be expressed through social media, like arrogance, envy, manipulation, deception, self-centeredness, and a sense of entitlement. Specifically looking at the manipulation component, this behavior may be destructive, but it's not always illegal. Therefore, when confronted with it, it's difficult to know how to respond. And as I mentioned before, it can involve a lot of technical aspects, so it's difficult to figure out what the truth is. The second lesson, without a formal investigation, it's hard to identify internet stalkers. Even in this case, with all the screenshots and everything, it's not clear. Shannon reported several years ago she was being stalked by somebody. She could be telling the truth. What if this Amy person is now impersonating Shannon to harass Emily? It's complicated, but that could be what's happening. The bottom line is that without an investigation, it's all speculation. This really speaks to the nature of how we determine the truth. It's kind of philosophical. How do we know that any of this happened? How do we weight the evidence, like decide what evidence is significant and insignificant, especially when considering that the people reporting the story aren't even sure about what happened? The good news is that even without definitive information about perpetrators, people can show compassion to those who have been stalked on the internet. I think that's one of the key takeaways from this story. Even though the stalking appears to be perpetrated by ghosts and shadows, unidentifiable figures, the victims are very real. Third lesson, it's frightening how some people behave when they have anonymity. Whoever the stalker is, this case offers a disconcerting view into what people are really like, a look at their true intentions and nature. It's shocking how much time and energy people put into sadistic behavior when they could choose to use their resources to be productive. Those are my thoughts on the controversy surrounding CreepShow Art. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be artistic. Thanks for watching.